Hey, what's going on, everybody? How y'all doing? So Genshin Impact has had a lot of positivity around it. Everyone is, or mostly everyone is really liking the game, but apparently there's a lot of people who are really unhappy with it. So there was a Reddit post made about 12 hours ago from when I'm recording this, and it's titled "Everything Wrong with Genshin Impact Community and miHoYo." And I kind of wanted to go over this. It's kind of long, so this video is going to be a longer one, but I do want to talk about it because I think there are a lot of misunderstandings, and you know, it is a game that's trying to break the boundaries of what a gacha game is. And so because of that, I think there's a lot of people not entirely putting the pieces together, and honestly, there are some things that they're just not thinking about. So we're going to jump right in. I'm going to kind of read over what this person has to say and kind of give my thoughts as we go. So let's jump right into it. So first of all, what is Genshin Impact? This is something even the game itself doesn't know, and is what's confused most of the people around, and is what created the first problem. Genshin has severe identity crisis. It's a JRPG, it's a mobile gacha game, it's a AAA title aimed for all. The game tried to find something in between all this and created the mess we see today. You see people trying to defend the game by saying this is a gacha game, this is how it works, this is how it's been for years. Now all these things are complete BS. Genshin isn't and was never intended to be your typical mobile game. It tried to appeal to the mainstream audience. The instant Genshin was developed for PC, Switch, and PS4, it rose above your typical gacha game. Kind of agree there. If you are going to branch out to these bigger systems, you are going for a bigger branding or a bigger style of game than your typical mobile gacha game that we've seen in the past. I do kind of agree with that point there. It wanted to cater to the mainstream crowd. Now, this creates a very big problem that is the difference between mainstream gamers and gacha addicts. While gacha addicted mobile gamers are used to being effed over by practices by those companies, the mainstream crowd is different. Some of them are completely new to the gacha system. Just accept the fact that gacha is a very bad monetization model. Some games have implemented it in a nicer way, which actually isn't bad, but Genshin monetization is just straight up ridiculous. Look, gacha has been a thing for a while. Monetization in games has been a thing for a while. Microtransactions have been a thing for years, and they're not going away because companies can make a ton of money from them. You need to understand that when you're going into a gacha game, yes, rates are going to be different all over the place, but they're never going to be to a point where you can just get whatever you want. Rates are always not going to be great. While the rates in this game are not the best, you need to know what you're getting into before, you know, you just... It's not like you can go in and buy a character, obviously. It is straight up gambling, and he'll get into that further down the article. Genshin was promoted as JRPG. Disagree. It was promoted as an open world game, but they have been saying from the beginning that it is a gacha game. It's an open world gacha game. Instead of being your usual gacha mobile game. This is where most of the mainstream players' expectations shatter. Things like being limited by stamina system for play is a norm practice in mobile games. Not all games do this, but most of them do, but it's not in the mainstream market, and this is something which is not accessible when you go for broader market. You can't just expect them to conform to your shiny stamina system and be all happy. You're gonna get backlash. That is not miHoYo's problem. They have said from the beginning that this is going to be a gacha game. And look, if you don't do your research and understand what the game is before you jump in, I gotta say, that's your own fault. If you don't know what a gacha game is and you don't know what you're getting yourself into and you're expecting something, you know, you can't expect somebody, you can't assume what people are going to expect. If you've said up front what it is and people think it's something else, and when they get into it, it's not what they expected, that's not the person who's advertising's fault. That's the person who assumes fault. Resin. So resin's your stamina system. Resin system is just ridiculous. While being already bad in the first place, it's way worse compared to even the stamina system of other mobile gacha games. Almost 95% of the stuff you do in-game is locked behind resin system. You want to farm more? Go spend resin. You want to farm experience? Go spend resin. You want to farm artifacts? Go spend resin. You want to farm upgrade materials? Go spend resin. What's even more ridiculous is the amount you need per dungeon, bosses, and amount you get. Resin is capped at 120, so you can run hypostasis 3 times and poof, it's gone. Once you get to higher level, even running hypostasis 3 times doesn't give you enough material to level up your character. The regen rate is also capped 1 resin per 8 minutes. This doesn't stop here. One of the shittiest things in game is the weekly bosses. You can fight it once a week and still be walled behind resin. Can you see double the BS here? On top of being only available once a week, you still need to spend 60 resin just to collect rewards. The sheer amount of BS is ridiculous. Okay, so resin system being ridiculous. Let's go over this for a second. So I have a feeling that this person is not they don't play a lot of mobile games. I'm guessing that this person is one of the people that they're suggesting, which is from the more AAA world and not so much from the gacha world. Because if we look at a game like right now, one of the most popular games, mobile games, is Arknights. There are several others. Arknights is the one I know best, so of course I'm gonna, compare everything here to Arknights. So what was the number he gave here? So resin is capped at 120, so you run hypostasis 3 times and poof, it's gone. Yeah, that's how it works. So in Arknights, which also there is a comment below which I will go over later that does highly praise Arknights for what they do while going against what Genshin does. So yeah, if you've played Arknights, if you do your supply runs, which use 30 stamina, you do them 4 times, and that's all you get. Then you have to start using Originite Prime refreshes, which, yes, cost you money. Once you run out of what you get in game, you then have to spend money to get it. Now, yes, there are events and stuff when you clear maps for the first time that you get more Originite Prime. However, those only come every, maybe 3 weeks. It's not something that comes all the time, and they don't give you that much. One thing that we need to remember, this game is only a week and a half old. They haven't had time to run out events like this to get more Prima Gems and resin refreshes. So, I mean, yeah, that's how gacha games work. There are stamina systems, so you kind of need to get used to that things are going to be locked behind stamina systems, but there's also a lot of things that you can do in this game that aren't locked behind stamina. And I think this person will talk about that later. If they don't, I'll get into it later. Let's talk experience. To raise your character, the first laughable thing is that beating monsters of level 60 gives you 14 to 15 character experience. I mean, why even have it in the first place? This is just shitty on the face of people. You need to fight monsters for months, then maybe you can raise your level of your character. The sheer amount of stupidness that fighting monsters doesn't give you XP is just wow. The most XP from those XP books. And guess what? You need to spend resin to get those. And what's another fucked up thing is that one run costs 20 resin and doesn't even give you enough to level up even 1 level. Yes, you can get it from chests and quests, but you'll run out way too soon once you reach higher levels. Absolutely, that's how it works. To raise a character 1 level in Arknights takes way more than 1 run of a map. Again, I think this person is just like not used to how gacha games work. This is not a game you're going to be able to blow through in a weekend. This is a game that in order to get your teams, to get all your characters like maxed, it's going to take months. This is not a fast process. This is a slow burn. If you think for a second that you're going to be able to come in this game and just crank through it, max all your characters in a couple days, you are wrong. Like, this game is almost more set up like an MMO. You're going in for the long haul. So the fact that they're complaining that 1 run doesn't give you a level is absolutely ridiculous. That's exactly how those games have always worked, so I don't even understand the complaint here. Okay, moving on. Money walks in now, which is Mora. You need, if I remember correctly, 60,000 more just to ascend a character, and a level 35 ley line gives you 44,000. The amount of Mora you need to upgrade gears and characters is once again another very bad thing. You can spend a few days farming 1 million more, and guess what? It'll be gone in a poof once you get upgraded 3 to 4 artifacts, which you'll get fucked along the way. We'll get to that. Everything in this game needs more, be it leveling up characters, talents, artifacts, weapons. The amount needed is 100 times more than what you are earning. You'll always be short on this. Absolutely. That is how it works. For example, when I'm leveling up a new character to max in Arknights, I believe the number you need, it's around 1.5 million in terms of currency in that game. And yeah, you want to know how much time I spent farming just the currency to level up? Probably a day and a day and a half. And in that game, we're talking like a minute per run, and I'm refreshing all day. It probably cost me, somewhere between 15 and 20 full stamina refreshes just to get the currency needed to upgrade a character. That's not including all the materials you need. like, yes, this game is a grind. I don't understand where this is coming from. Also, you don't need to be spending resin to get Mora. There are a number of ways you can get Mora that aren't. I will be having a video coming up about that in a day or two. But look, yes, there are going to be bottlenecks. That's how games like this work. Again, I've said that several times at this point. It's just how the games work. It's like every system is going to be different, but so far I really don't see a problem with how they're doing things in terms of Mora. Comes in the artifacts now. You have a greater chance of winning a lottery ticket than rolling good stats on the artifacts. The amount of RNG implemented on artifacts is baffling. First, you need a good main stat, pray to RNG. Then you get good secondary stats. Did you know these are also assigned via RNG? Then, once you upgrade the artifact, additional stats are assigned based on RNG. Once you keep upgrading the artifacts, existing substats are upgraded based on RNG, and more new substats are assigned, which are further upgraded. Those are whole 6 and 7 layers of RNG to get good artifacts. So you're better off praying to be able to Kamehameha than getting a good artifact. You can say that no problem, I'm a hardcore grinder, I'll farm them until I get them, but then resin comes in and grabs your ass and puts you in place. Oh, did you also know that artifact drops are RNG? Also, domains drop multiple styles of artifacts. You are on top praying to get a good artifact main stat. First, you need to pray to get the artifact at all. And you need to do this with 6 runs per day, only if you grind single domain and neglect everything else. Okay, again, this is something this is all kind of the same complaint, right? They're talking about resin, about how, yes, you know, if you're not spending money to get primo gems, you will not be able to do this. Yeah, that's what a gacha game is. If you want to do your refreshes, you're going to have to spend the money for primo gems or farm primo gems. Now, primo gems, like they'll get into later, they're kind of hard to come by. I do agree with that point, that primo gems are hard to acquire in game. But if you want to crank through the game, like I'm assuming this person wants to do, because, you know, they're freaking out that they're not going to be able to get their artifact on their first try. Yeah, no shit. These things are going to take a while to get. RNG is a thing. Have you ever played an MMO? Have you ever played World of Warcraft and tried to get a mount? Dude, people farm those things for years. RuneScape, years. Like, yeah, drops are rare. That's why they're a good thing, because they keep you in the game longer playing. Once you get all your artifacts, like, if you completely max out a character, get all their artifacts, get all your 5 stars, get perfect stats, and then you just like shit stomp Abyss, then what are you going to do? Then you're going to be complaining that there's nothing to do. Well, there would have been something to do had you been farming artifacts, but guess what? You didn't want to do that because you wanted to cruise through the game and say you were the best at it and go through 100 miles an hour. Well, that's not always the case. You know what? You don't want to spend money? Fine. It's going to take you longer, but if you do want to cruise through the game, put the money in. That's just how the games work. Now, don't you worry, because in comes the weapon upgrade materials. And look, I'm not going to go over this because this and the talent books is the exact same problem this person's been having. And at this point, you know, being 15 minutes into the video, it's all the same. He's complaining about resin. So yeah, what's the game at higher levels? You log in, burn resin in 10 minutes, you get trash, you curse, you log out, rinse and repeat because you're a trash collector. Well, it can be if that's what you want to do, if you just want to base this game on domains, but there's actually a lot of elite mobs that you can fight in the world that don't cost resin to fight, and they give you a ton of materials that you need to level up your characters and weapons, and those runs can take you a couple hours depending on how fast you are. So in 10 minutes, yeah, I don't know about that. There's actually a lot of stuff you can do in this game without resin. So I don't know if you're necessarily a trash collector. If you want to go adventuring, you can certainly go adventuring, and there's a lot of stuff to do while you're out there. Congratulations, you've made it so far. Now that the resin is done, we look at another horrendous aspect of the game, and that is monetization and gacha. Okay, well, let's see what this person has to say about this. Now, for all those white knights out there, just accept the fact that gacha rate is horrendous. I will agree. The gacha rate for 5 stars is absurd. This is a point that I do actually agree with. I agree. I'll say that. 0.6% to get a 5-star character is way too low. As the CN guy said, it's double the rate of glass blowing up. Gacha has been around for quite a while. There are examples of good and bad gachas all around, but Genshin falls into the worst one. You have a 0.6% rate to get a 5-star character, which is basically non-existent, and you get pity at 90 pulls. Here comes another scummy part. At 90 pulls, you have a 50% chance to get the up characters. See, this is BS. It's actually a pity, but not a pity. You can pull 90 times, but are still reliant on the RNG to get the desired character. Real pity comes at 180 pulls, which is just straight up ridiculous. 180 pulls are 32,000 Prima Gems, and converting them into real life money, that's a whopping $400 just for one freaking 5-star character. That's like a whole month's worth of food. And congrats, if you got the 5-star character, because that's not his full potential, you need to farm another 6 of him to max him. So in worst case, you're looking at 2,400 just to max out one 5-star character. Holy flames, this shit. 4-star rate is also so low that you rarely get them out of the 10 pull pity, which is just another scummy practice. Cost for Prima Gems is yet another crappy practice to greed money. $100 gives you 8,800 Prima Gems, which are about 55 pulls. This is not even enough to hit that initial pity of 90 pulls, let alone that 181. Okay, now like I said before, yes, I think the rates are not super great, but again, let's look at Arknights. A lot of times, yes, you can get very lucky and get the characters you want. Like if a new 6-star character comes out, yes, you can get them very early. But there are times that you don't. For example, I think the most I ever spent on a character, which this first time I think I'm going to say it out loud, is I think I spent close to $400 to get Neon. Now, that was also because there was another 6-star on the banner, Ak, which was rate up, and I think I got 3 of him before I got 1 Neon. But yeah, when you have a rate up on those characters, it's like it's a 50% rate up, so you still have a chance of getting another 6-star over that character. So it's the same exact thing here. Just because you're rolling on a rate up banner doesn't mean that you get to have a guaranteed pull of the character you're running for. Now, even when you take into account the cost of pulls, the pulls are not like that bad in terms of cost. When I initially looked at it, I was thinking, yeah, you know what, it is pretty close to like not being worth it. But let's look at Arknights, right? You spend $100, how many pulls are you going to get? I think when the math comes out, you're getting four, maybe 5, 10 pulls. Same exact thing with this game. You're getting 4, maybe 5, 10 pulls. Now, you may look at your pulls and be like, you may think like, wow, okay, so I got 1 4-star and 9 3-stars. That's a lot of crap. Well, you know, a viewer pointed this out to me, is if you look at your Arknights pulls, when you pull, if you're looking for a certain character, usually most of the characters you pull are absolute garbage and they're not going to do anything for you. You've either already potentialed them out all the way, or you just don't care about them, or you don't need them. So it's the same exact thing. You usually have like 1, maybe 2 pulls that you actually need in a 5-star or 6-star character. The rest is just fodder. This is the same exact thing. It took me a while to realize that, because it looks worse when you have weapons versus characters, right? But when it's all characters, you're like, oh sweet, I got 10 new characters. But 9 of those are just fluff. It's that 1 or 2 in the pack that you really want. And a lot of times in Arknights, you don't even get a 5 or 6-star character. A lot of times you have the blue bags, which are just 4 stars. And those are garbage bags. Those are wasted money. In this game, it at least guarantees you that 4-star. And in this game, 4 stars are basically the equivalent of 5 stars in Arknights. And so is the rate a little bit low on the 5 stars? Sure, it could be improved. But the fact that they're complaining on how much it costs to get a certain character, yeah, bro, that's how it works. It's literally gambling. Like, again, I don't think this person knew what they were getting into before they hopped into Genshin Impact, because, yeah, this is how it's been for years. Gacha games have been like this. Another 2 methods of monetization that the game uses, these 2 are absolutely worthless. Now, you may say that the monthly pass is actually really good value. You can get 3,000 Prima Gems for $5, which is a steal. And yes, it could have been good had the rates been decent. Just look at what 3,000 Prima Gems net you. 4-star character you don't want, a useless 4-star weapon, or will you hold out to hope that you will get a 5-star character? Even after spending money, you are still reliant on the small chance to get something good. Battle Pass. Oh, don't get me started on this piece of crap. It's the single worst battle pass I've ever seen during my whole gaming life. From these ridiculous requirements which force you to spend Prima Gems to refresh resin to the locking of weekly XP, this is just accumulation of every single crap lying around, not even worth a shit. Okay. The $5 monthly pass, super worth it. You get 3,000 Prima Gems, which is good. Could have been good had the rates been decent. Bro, the rates are how they are. Like, okay. The battle pass. Single worst battle pass I've ever seen in my whole gaming life. Really. Because I've seen some dog shit battle passes. So I played Call of Duty Warzone for like 2 weeks, and that battle pass was primarily cosmetics. that didn't help me in game, didn't help me progress. It was literally just, oh, my gun looks cool. And a lot of those cosmetics were dog shit. So in this case, all the things you're getting from the battle pass help you advance. All the things you were complaining about, getting Mora, getting experience books, getting weapon enhancement crystals, all that stuff, guess where you can get it? The battle pass. And you get quite a bit of it too. So the complaints that he's having are kind of collapsing in on themselves had he just like figured out that the battle pass was actually good. You also get some free wishes in there, or not free, I mean, look, you gotta spend the $10 to get the full battle pass, but yeah, you get some wishes in there too. So if you're complaining about spending money on wishes, you can get them from the battle pass. Achievements. This doesn't fall under monetization, but is another BS aspect of the game that I'd like to discuss. Achievements spit in the face of the player. Collecting 100 chests gives you 10 Prima Gems. And what's that number? That's 1/16 the amount you need for one damn pull. Even if we count the Prima Gems you get from those 100 chests, it nets you 200, 2 from each, plus 10, 210 Prima Gems, which doesn't even amount to 2 pulls. I feel like the system is there just to mock the player. Dude, have you seen achievement systems on PS4 or Xbox? They don't give you anything. They're literally there just to say players have 100% of the game. They don't do anything for your game. So what are you complaining about? You're actually getting something. Now, instead of doing a wish, you're getting 210 Prima Gems. Go ahead and do 2 refreshes. You were complaining about the Prima Gem system before. So if that's the case, go do some refreshes. Get some enhancement material. Don't spend your time on polls which you think are bullshit in the first place. This line of thinking is just, it's stupidity the way this person is thinking. Okay, so this whole bit is kind of a lot of text here. There's not a lot of like specific stuff, but basically this person is saying that a lot of people are having the same exact complaints as he has. So that's the reason I'm not going to really read through this. The part that I am going to read through though is the YouTube channel. So to be honest, I was hoping for those YouTube channels who would bring up some of these concerns to the community, but nope, every single one of them is dripping wet for Genshin and just screaming into the mics. Well, you get your wish. I'm going to be talking about this. 5 awesome tips for Genshin, 5 insane tips for Genshin, 5 super duper insane tips for Genshin, 5 tips to level up and get that hot MILF in your area. Okay, well that one I don't think anyone's doing, but I don't mean to criticize those channels. They may create content they want, but a good chunk of community watches those channels, so bringing issues with the game will definitely help. So I don't know if they're commenting on clickbait or if they're commenting on the fact that nobody's bringing up issues in the game. If they're complaining about clickbait, like, have you seen YouTube? YouTube is literally a clickbait cesspool. And if you don't want clickbait, look, I mean, you can look at this channel. I'm actually striving away from that. I was doing that when we were doing Arknights content, but I've actually switched it up. Don't do it anymore. You want some other things like that? Go check out debunking. debunking is killing it right now in terms of content. His information is absolutely incredible. None of it is clickbait. Sekapoko, another one that I've been watching a lot. Both those channels really good. So if you want some not clickbaity material, I would suggest go checking them out. And yeah, just find content creators you like as opposed to just going through the browse section. In terms of not talking about bringing these issues up, I think this is more of an issue with the players who think there's something incredibly wrong with this game, thinking that content creators should be making stuff. I think the content creators who are making content about it, like yours truly, really like the game, and they understand that no, it's not going to be perfect. This game is brand new. There are things that are going to be fixed. Updates are going to be made. And quite honestly, some of the things you're complaining about, not exactly things that should be made, you know, a big deal. Lastly, well, not lastly, there's a lot of stuff here. This is honestly, this kind of paragraph is stuff he's already talked about. Talking about Genshin is not a mobile game. We've already talked about that. No, it's not a mobile gacha game, but it is a PC and PS4 and soon to be Switch gacha game. It is a different thing. Yes. It's all kind of recapping. Oh, let's see what else we got. MiHoYo. All right, let's get into this. The final boss of all is MiHoYo itself, and they themselves have been really scummy and shitty. So far, they've been completely turning a blind eye and not listening to the people at all. Starting from the very first CBT, closed beta test, to the open beta test, they have received constant feedback but have completely neglected the main parts, which include resin and monetization. Now, keep in mind that MiHoYo is not a new company. They've been in the market for years. Their other mobile games, Genshin Impact 3, is very big in CN and also quite popular in global too. Throughout constant feedback from players and being in the market, they have learned what's good and what's bad. And the shittiest thing is that they choose to completely ignore it and push their scummy tactics. Let's see some of them. All right, well, let's read some of them. The first and very obvious one being gacha and monetization. Yes, we've heard what you've had to say on that. Monetization was available during the closed beta test 3 on CN server. It received quite a lot of feedback due to rates being so low, but they still didn't change a thing. They just rolled it exactly the same way, meaning they didn't pay any heed to the feedback regarding the monetization. They know about gacha and what's good and bad about it, but still purposely choose to go with the shittiest kind of gacha. The kind of gacha that every game has. Unskippable cutscenes. Let's just accept it that the only reason the cutscenes are unskippable is because they want to prevent people from re-rolling accounts. Though it didn't prevent them, but it was their intention. That's why they even went as far as banning accounts who pulled 5 stars but had no activity for 24 hours or so, but didn't even touch those accounts that only had 4 stars. Criticism threads on the official forums of just being deleted, just another scummy tactic. Okay, I do buy the fact that banning accounts for re-rolling is kind of scummy. His main point here being unskippable cutscenes, that's just ridiculous. The majority of games have unskippable cutscenes unless you've already seen them. This is just... I understand what he's trying to get at, but framing your argument with this makes it so much weaker. If your argument is that they're banning accounts, fine. I understand that. I think that banning accounts just for re-rolling is kind of a scummy thing. But if your main point is unskippable cutscenes, bro, play a video game once in a while. Yeah, and their score is 4.7. Yeah, I get that. That's pretty bad. What's MiHoYo trying to do? At this point, it's either 2 possibilities. One, that either they didn't research enough into the mainstream audience, or it's just deliberate. And the chance of it being the former is, let's just say, 0.6%. Get it. Reference the game's shitty rates. Oh, you. It seems like rather than catering to what the mainstream player base expects, MiHoYo is trying to lure them into the shady and absolute BS world of mobile gacha gaming. This is what garnered so much hate from the mainstream audience, while the gacha gaming addicts are used to being fucked over by these scummy tactics all year round. Okay, so this is what he's already said. This is not a fault of the company. This is a fault of the players. If you come into this game thinking that it is not a mobile gacha game, or sorry, if it's not a gacha game, because it is primarily a console and PC game. I've tried to play this on mobile. It's atrocious. If you come into this game not thinking it's a gacha game, you're doing yourself a disservice. This game is 100% a gacha game. Just because it's wrapped up in a JRPG open world game does not mean that there are not going to be aspects that you don't like if you're not used to gacha games. Get over it. And the last section here is really just him kind of trashing on people like me who are out here like saying, you know what, this is how it is. Quit if you don't like it is a crappy and rotten mindset. Look, first of all, I don't think that just because you don't like the game, you should quit it. I think you should understand your arguments beforehand. I don't think that you fully understand what you're talking about here. I think that if you think, like, it sounds to me like you thought this game was going to be more of an open world RPG versus a gacha game, where it was clearly advertised as a gacha game. When I was, reading content about this game, watching videos beforehand, every piece of material I came to, it said Genshin Impact, the newest gacha game. Like, it was never hidden the fact that this was a gacha game. If you didn't think that this was a gacha game, you got to put that on yourself, because it was definitely advertised as a gacha game. And then a lot of the comments down here are really a lot of people reiterating the same things. This person saying the co-op needs a buff though. It's so fun to play together, but Jesus, is it useless? Yes, I 100% agree with that. You'll see that actually in another video that I'll be putting out in a bit. I agree. But this game has been out for a week and a half. Yes, there are features that are not currently in the game. For example, there's going to be a housing system in this game. And I'm assuming that's going to be kind of your inactive part of the game where it farms stuff for you while you're away. There are aspects of the game that are not added in, and they are coming. You just need to wait for them. Again, this game has been out for a week and a half. These gacha games, again, if you looked at a mobile game and you said, wow, there's some content missing, guess what? You would expect that because there are, you know, events, there are new characters that come out. Like, everything comes out on a month-by-month basis. I think the misunderstanding here is that because it's coming out on PC, PS4, and like I said, soon to be Switch, people are assuming that there are not going to be the same aspects of this that also apply to mobile games and PC games. That's not the case. They're going to be piecemealing this game. You have to understand this is not a completed game that's coming out. There's a reason it's free, and there's a monetization system. This is not a $60 AAA game. So like one of the comments here, like I said, some people are going to be comparing this to Arknights. More gachas need to look towards Yo-Star games. Azure Lane and Arknights are absolute joys to play because I don't feel like I am pressured into anything besides just spending time in the game during events. Said time requires me to just do shit, however, not spending money. Obviously, the intent here is to make you attached to game characters to make skins more appealing. I've never once felt the need to buy stamina with real money or spend gacha resource on it. You get a shitload of it and free refreshes. Okay, so see, so I don't understand why people are saying this, because if you want to play a game like Arknights without spending real money, you can. Are you going to get every character in the game? Hell no. You need to spend money in order to get characters. And that's really what people are complaining here with the gacha system, is that if they don't spend a ton of money, then they won't get the characters. Well, you can do this. And this game is even more free-to-play friendly than a game like Arknights. But what people think is that, oh, I got this game, so I need to have all the characters. Sure, but it's a free game. They got to make some money somewhere, so you need to do it either through wishing or through stamina refreshes. Never once felt the need to buy stamina with real money. Fine, but you're probably also not maxing out your characters, and if you are, they're probably lower level characters. So a lot of the issues here I'm sensing are just like people complaining to complain. They're either not from the gacha world, this is their first gacha game, or I don't know. I honestly don't know what the problem is. Like, are there things missing in the game? Absolutely. But they already have a million updates planned. Like, we're only in region, we're 2 regions in out of 7, and each of those regions is going to have a ton of new content. So to think that this is like a finished game, and that everything would be perfect, you know, you can get characters willy-nilly, all your materials are just going to fall in your lap. It's just not the case. Other gacha systems are like this, and if your impression of Genshin Impact was that it was going to be completely free to play and you weren't going to spend any money on it, guess again, that's not how gacha games work. So if you've made it this far, you've made it to the end of the video, guys. So this article was kind of long and drawn out, and there were a lot of points made, and honestly, I don't agree with most of them. This person I think they just kind of need a hug. But guys, let me know down in the comment section below if you agree with this person's article. Do you think this game is just trash, or, you know, maybe not the gameplay is trash, but all the systems in place are trash? Or do you think it's just, you know, not understanding fully what this game was supposed to be? If they thought that this game was supposed to be just an open world RPG with some monetizing aspects, but it kind of builds itself on the gacha system. Let me know down in the comments what your thoughts on this were. I'm very curious to see. I know this is kind of a sensitive topic to some people, so if you could try and be respectful to each other, and don't just yell at each other. Let's have some open discussion and let's actually converse about this. But guys, that is going to do it for me today. If you want some more content from me, some more uppity content, go ahead and follow me over on twitch.tv/xjazz207. And if you want to see more content from me, just like this over on YouTube, subscribe right here. That's all I got for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys in the next one. Peace.